Next to the our topic is generic. Let's do generic utility types. Generic utility types are used just to improve or just use the extra features of the generic type. So let's start with making, let's say making a function. Let's say cost call cost call function here that parameters that let's say having a title string, date or specific description description another element and another parameter or argument that is it's a date. I date that we understood before. And what will return something that will return as that let's assign such that it will return as I cost got not that we return this that is type of that we create now. So now return function will return the title is of type title and 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 that have our description type and our let's say another is type was called because we do not define here but using here that those possible. Okay, we just forgot what point is. That title date is not assignable to cost code title string, description to string, date is date, etc. Will be defined date as a date. Okay. Now, the thread issue that data structure is missing. I just want to not write this way, but making another that is let's say that is returning here and then we define that variable so that these cost call dot calling the title from there title call dot and put it as a description. 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 That's it, and that is Costco. That's it. If you want to do that, this is showing us an error. That error is that that cannot exist from type is that we have defined here. That is Costco. So what we can do that we can do just share that red course call the course call which is a type of course call that we are calling it course call is now it is showing us error only for this that string is not effective course call. So error that's say this error can be removed by the utility types that we are giving or generate that is partial that partial generate utility type not very type as using the type will be in the kind of basis and one error has meant and that is that for the function declared as reward also not returning a value because they are not running. So let's return from here. So return that what is our that has been gone, but we are rejected because that partial means not signable to this. So knowing this error by using our type casting that has been used before, that is now you see that error has been gone. This is the partial type. This is a generic utility type that partial that is the generic type, and this is used that making it optional for that. That is why we can use this as doing by calling that course called or title that having title and course called or subject. Only the reason partial coming here we can do this, but if we just say if we want to clear this then we cannot do these things. Another type that we have used this as a normal industrial profile type protection that is read only type that in this let's say making it and let's say name that would be an array that having array and array let's say we want to some push or push pop something let's say push we want to put something in array that we can use here say anything that we want to that we can use it because there is no restriction on names and so here our another generic ability type comes that is read only type. So we define here as read only and with and with type string error we have. So now we have an error because property pushed does not exist because when we are using read only type we cannot add or let's say remove anything name. If you want to use this then we also cannot use anything because the same error that read only property cannot use for just adding or removing anything. Read only just types setting for the having our variables or let's interface or anything. Let's understand the utility types that we have studied from here. That we can see the types that provide built-in utilities that just passing the types into these brackets. And as we use partial that we use in the code, that partial allows to make all properties optional that we use. That it makes the properties optional that we can use it as type as we want. Here is an example that is making an interface that is having ID as a number, first name as string, last name as string. Here we can make a function passing arguments and using partial keyword here and in the brackets that we used here, that it makes the optional type that to make show type as optional argument that it could be of any types. So if you pass argument such as here we using partial type of this type, that ID that is automatically if it is a number that we have defined, so it is taken, showing no error. And here we use first name and last name which use string, then it also shows not an error. But here interface partial which is used as type annotation for function show type, and the make properties optional that we have to use partial keyword and pass the partial type as an argument. Another iterative type that is required. Unlike partial, the required is used to make all properties that must be required, that must be in the that we are calling something. Let's take into this example that making interface required type having ID as a number, first name the same thing, that here we are making it as optional before, and making a function that argument which is of type that required type, that is our utility type we are using generic. And when we taken as ID as a number first name and this, then it will give us the output here. And if we do only the single thing that ID only one, then it will show us an error that only ID is present and other two are missing from it, that both are required. So as we make them optional, but still it is showing us an error, because when we are using the required generic type, then all arguments or all fields must be required in the calling function or in the when we are using it. Next to our read only that we have used, that read only is transform properties that in order to make the not string assignable value, that we have used in the code, that making an array. If want to make something push or pop by using read one property, then we cannot do. I like here that making interface and here ID and name, the function show type console log. Now here we make a read only type that ID is equal to 4, and here if you want to assign now ID is equal to 1, that we cannot because we assign 4 as a value here. So that is read only. Now we cannot assign or change the value once we set with the read only property. Here the read only property, that is, so another thing, another utility is the pick type. The pick type is something different from another property that allows to create a new type from an existing model. Let's say from an example that if we have a pick type interface which having these three properties or these three fields here, and we can use this by that's defining the type in Angular basis, that pick type which will that here and choosing the properties only which the function should have or must have. If these are not present there, then it will show the error. That's it. For example, that we calling here the show type and first name, that is here having the first name and also having the last name, then it is correct and showing us the output. But if we using the ID that we do not choose here that to be shown in the output, so it will show us an error. That is the big type, generic utility types these are. New topic, that is decorator. So let's end it here and go to our code. Let's make the file. Let's go.